Hi, it's Katrina Kavanagh here. It is the very first Perfectly Imperfect Parenting Facebook Live for 2019 Term 3. Is that what we are? Term 3? Yeah, term 3. Today is Monday, I think. Yes, it's been Monday all day. And I'm so excited to be talking to you. This term, I'm going to be working through a range of topics. We will be here every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time during school term. And we'll be talking about everything to do with the process of parenting our children. You have to see me, I'm all very natural today, no makeup. I really believe that the process of parenting our children is quite a wonderful but challenging, wonderful and challenging task, and that none of us are perfect. And that's why we call this perfectly imperfect parenting, because that's what I am. I'm certainly a very imperfect parent. So perfectly imperfect parenting, and so every Monday night we're going to always focus on a topic, and today's topic is going to be all about your child's relationship with technology, and therefore your relationship with your child and their technology. This topic will come up more than once this term, because I think it is a really important topic. I'm not going to be saying to you, say no to your kids and get them off. I am going to be talking to you more about what happens to a child's brain when they're on technology and why it is actually really tricky for them to get off. And so I'm going to be talking about that. I'm going to be giving you that information to inform you and educate you about what's going on really from a neurological point of view, which helps us then have more empathy and understanding towards our kids and see them as, rather than just being naughty, as actually having a brain-body response to the technology that is addictive. So we will talk about that throughout the term. It's a bit of a theme for term 3. And how we navigate that with our children, and what are the best amount of times. And look, I put a post up to this about this during the week, and I put a post up about this during the week, and one of the comments I got from someone who was very wise said, well, look, because I shared, it's further down on the feed, I shared that those who have created the products, like the phones and the programs and stuff, they themselves don't allow their children to be on them or to have much access to them. And one of the comments that someone made, which I think is really valid, is yes, but they have hired help. They have nannies and housekeepers and things like that, people who can look after the children. Whereas us average folk, we don't get that. And I myself have used a device as a way to have my child occupied so that I could get certain things done. That certainly has happened a lot in my home. So I want you to be aware that I'm not all about let's be perfect and to you if you're not doing the right thing. I'm literally just about let's be honest, being open and honest about it, really. Just being real is the key word, being real about it. Every Monday night, 8 p.m, we're going to be talking about anxiety with our kids. We're going to be talking about how to parent them in the real moment. We're talking about young kids, older kids, how they manage depression. If your child's experiencing depression, what do you do if your child is a bully or engaging in bullying? What do you do if your child's on the receiving end of bullying? What are some good tips to be able to access the education? If you've got concerns about, anything to do with your child's schooling, then I can give you some tips on how you might approach the education department. What are the best questions to ask your teacher? Because it's hard to get access. Well, sometimes our teachers are so busy and their time is so precious. So if we get a chance to have an audience if you make a time and appointment, which is always the best way, with your child's teacher, then what are some of the best questions to ask your teacher to get the most out of your time with them? So I'm going to be consulting with some of my educational colleagues to put together some top tips on the best way to communicate with teachers. And so this will be essentially some of the things we'll talk about. Live Q&A is all about giving you an opportunity, creating an audience, giving you an opportunity to talk about what you need to talk about. I'm here available to be of service to you. At the moment today, our numbers are low. Oh, hello, Karen. Hello, Karen. How are you going? That's so sweet. There you are. Our numbers are low, and that's okay. People are coming on board now. I'm just getting back on live. But we will be promoting these much more fervently over the next few weeks. So I'm hoping to get many more people on board. Oh, there's an angry face and a happy face. All kinds of faces on there. That's good. I never know how many people are watching at once. I suppose there must be a way of being able to see that. I'm sure if I went somewhere, someone could tell me. See video insights. What if that tells me who's watching at once? I can see actually over the next. So I'll have a look anyway and see if I can find out how I can see who's watching. But I'm just very grateful. 3 at the moment. How do you know that, Karen? How do you know that? Can you see that? But I can't see that. Okay. Well, for the 3 of you, Karen, hello. You're here. That's great. Happy for you to be late. That's fine. Now I want you to know that I'm coming live in my pajamas. See my lovely soft pink, a lovely nightshirt, and my pajamas. So, and where am I? There's my little Ugg boots. Because, you know, let's make this a real cozy affair. We're talking about perfect parenting. If you're not in your pajamas, my God, go and get yourself in your pajamas. I've got my great cup of tea. I've got my glass of water, cafe style, in a jar. That's what I could grab. And I'm really, really grateful to be here. Hello, Karen. Hello, Karen. Hello, Karen again. So please spread the word, because every Monday night at 8 p.m. we will be here. Tonight, we're going to be talking about lots of topics. Tonight, I just wanted to do a little bit of a information share on our children and technology. And I just wanted to share a little bit about what's happening to the brain when your child is on technology. And as a result of that, the impact on your brain is on their brain, sorry, and ours actually, but particularly theirs, because theirs is a developing brain. Hello, Mel Bendel. Thank you for joining us. The impact on their brain, particularly in the moment of using it, is something that I think we need to be really aware of. Now let's talk about what happens. What we see happening is child on device, we come along and say, time to get off. They engage in some form of resisting. There's not many children that when you say, get off your device, they go, yes, okay. Sure, mum, dad, carer, aunt, uncle, grandparent, whoever you are. I'm getting off my device. Thank you for reminding me. Wow, now I'm going to get up and I might just do the dishes for you and clean my room. Oops. And then there's that homework that needs to be done, which reminds me I've got to remind my daughter to finish her maths homework. So what we know is that your child's watching an on-device and we come along and say, let's get off. Even if we give a warning, 5 minutes to go, right? Doesn't matter when it comes to the moment of getting off, they will usually give you some kind of emotional response, either not getting off and nothing, or some kind of, oh, no, and right, some kind of noise like that, resistance. So that's what it looks like to us looking in. And then as parents, we can get very triggered and very upset and very worried and anxious, and we can be saying things like hurry up, and then get angry back at them, or and see that as them not, I can't stand the word respecting, but respecting us, see them as them being, you know, not great in their behaviour. Now, I want to talk to you about what's really going on, because I think if I can tell you that, then you just might create a little bit of a different picture. When your child is on a device and their brain is engaged, they are in an addictive process. The neurons are firing, the brain is operating, the chemicals are being released, the feel-good chemicals are being released, And in that moment, they're getting hit after hit after hit of a very addictive process which involves all of those things. So neurons firing, brain responding, feel-good chemicals being released, certain parts of the brain being triggered by the experience. They are therefore then having a physiological response to that. So their vagal nerve that runs from the base of their brain down through the chest and into their gut area is affected. They would be having maybe a heightened sort of excitement feeling in their chest. Their tummy might be awash with butterflies, and they're generally much more elevated. So they're having a whole brain-body experience, right? That is absolutely locked in and reliant on this device. You come along and say, let's go, let's get off. And you are literally asking them to do something that at that point in time, it is very hard for them to see their way out of doing it. It's not like putting down a book. It's not like putting down a book, and it's not like packing away the toys. It is not that, okay? It is a very, very intense experience for them. So what does that mean for us as parents and carers? I give you, hello, Sasha Lee De Bruin, miss you. Good to see you on here. Thank you for joining me and supporting Kindness on Purpose, Perfectly Imperfect Parenting Live Q&A. So we're talking about technology. So what we find happens in that moment is when we do ask them and they resist coming off the devices, we then as parents, I actually put you get scared. It might come across as anger, frustration, blah, blah, blah. But in some ways, it's a bit of fear because we, on some level, whether we're aware of it or not, we're worried about what's happening for our children, you know, why are they so attached to this device, and what's it going to mean for their brain. And so we panic. We can panic. And we can therefore react from our own primitive brain, fight, flight, freeze, or submit, and get into a intense emotional state with them. What then ensures is conflict, and it does impact on the relationship. This doesn't happen all the time. I know that there's probably lots of you out there that are calmly walking up to your children in a meditative state, wearing your monk-type robes and bowing down to your children and saying, "Now, darling, come off the device." And your child glides their face upon you and wistfully says, "Yes, Mum, Dad, Kara, I'll be off there right away." And then you say namaste and off you go together. I'm sure that's happening in homes all over the world. Exactly. So I think what I'm giving to you, though, is an understanding. So one of the things I'm going to give you a couple of tips to help understand that. First thing is to sit down and have a quick conversation with your child, device-free, saying, look, I know that when I come and ask you to get off your device, it's actually more than me. It doesn't feel the same for you physically, like in your brain and your body, as to when I ask you to get off away, put down your toys. I know that it feels different for you. And thank you for the laughing. I know that it feels different for you. So I want to acknowledge that. And so it's my job as your parent carer to coach you through that. So there's a few things we're going to do. I'm going to find ways to ground you. So I'm going to come to you and I'm going to say, let's put down, you're going to go up and physically touch them, not like grab them, physically put your hand on their arm, okay, or hand on their shoulder and say, I'm here and it's time to get off your device and I want you to put your device down now. Hand it to me. Not in an intimidatory, not in a demanding way, but just because the touch, the physical sensation of touch will help them ground back to this moment, okay? Not a lot, just a little bit, okay? And then what I'm going to ask you to do is say to them, look, I know your brain and your body is very connected into that at the moment, but I'm going to ask you to put that down and come back to me. What I would say to you is the quicker the better, not too much backwards and forwards. It's like you're putting it down now. When they say, I've got, it's up to you, 5 minutes to go, 10 minutes to go, whatever works with your schedule, that's fine. But then you will, just so you know, you will need to come back to them to say to them, well, you need to get off in 10 minutes, and them saying, yeah, Mum, I'll let you know. It's hi Samantha, hi Jill Venn. It's likely that they will. Today we're talking all about technology, what happens to the brain and the body, and what happens in that moment when you're asking your child to get off the device, and why that's so hard, you know, wanting to give you some information about what's going on with the brain and the body. So if you've missed it, please re-look at this, and it'll be up on the Facebook page as soon as we finish with some of the back information I've already given. So the idea is, if you're aware that, in fact, they're not just being really difficult and unkind to you. Oh, there you go. Exactly, Samantha. That's why, everyone, that's why Samantha Zanes is late. It's because she's been dealing with, I think what you're saying is, one of your lovelies who's struggling with getting off a device and probably having an emotional response to it. So one of the good things about it is, if you can understand that it is a process, understand exactly what you're dealing with there, what you're actually asking, understand that you're not asking them just to put a book down or a toy down, that it truly is a whole body experience for them, brain, body. And so it is honestly really hard for them to disconnect. It's honestly really hard. It's not easy. They've got everything firing. They've got the hormones, they've got the, you know, chemical release. They've got their feel-good chemicals being released. They've got the chest and belly and whole body experience from the vagal nerve, all having this huge response, right, to the experience of being on this device. And as parents, carers, we come in and say, hey, let's just hop off there. And you're asking a lot. And they don't even understand what you're asking them. They're not able to say, my vagal nerve response is feeling really good, Mum. I can't get off, right? They just don't want to. So they want to keep that feeling going. Thank you very much. And you're kind of asking them to come out of this really lovely feeling space, which is like a bit slack, right? Like, why would you even ask that of me? For what possible purpose could you be asking me to do? What possibly can feel better than this? So that's why the pre-conversation's good, sitting down and going, look, I know this is what's going on in your brain and body. I'm here to support you through it. And then when you come to the moment, you say, hi, it's that time. You might even have a keyword you develop with them where you say, you might call it off the getting off procedure, or actually that's not a great use of words, the you know, getting off your device time procedure, or Operation Device Retrieval, Operation Orange, which represents device retrieval, whatever you may do, you know, Operation Stop the Insanity, I don't know. So whatever you want to do that, but to put some words around it, like let's call this Operation Orange, you can, hello, Nikki Hopping. Samantha Zane says, my two use it for that exact reason, to block out the anxiety they feel on a daily basis. And you know what? Good on them. And if that's what's working for them to give relief, then I completely understand. We have, Jill says, we have trouble with 6-year-old granddaughter getting off her iPad. Yeah. So if you go through, Jill, I've just recorded a whole lot of content, and in the first 15 minutes or so of this that went up before you got on. So this video will become something you can look at. And I encourage you to do that, because I'm talking about the brain and the body and what's actually happening. Because once you understand what's really happening, you realize that it's not them being naughty or resistant. You're literally asking them to come out of something that feels really good and gives them a lot of relief. So once you understand that, you realize what you're actually tackling. So then you come at it with, you know, if you realize something's at this level, we come at it with strategies that are at that level as well, rather than thinking something's at this level. Thinking it's at this level when it's really at this level when it comes to engaging brain and body, right? And us coming at it with, come off the device, and then they don't, and then we get frustrated and can't believe it. And so, come on, and then, you know, and then we escalate in a high conflict way, when really if we realized, okay, brain and body are engaged at this level when it comes to devices. Hi June. When we realize that they're engaged at that level, the brain and the body is engaged at that level when they're on devices, and if we come at it with strategies that match that, then what's going to happen is we're going to have a much better productive experience in our relationship with our kids to get off those devices. So You have what I call a peacetime conversation. I always refer to things like that. I always use the language peacetime, which means when they're not on the device, when they're nowhere near the device. Pick their best time of the day. So if their best time is morning or middle of the day, sit down with them, or maybe your best time. Sit down when both your brains are fresh and say, listen, we know that when you're on your device, it is a whole brain-body experience. We know that every part of you is engaged and feeling good. So therefore, we understand why it is hard to get off. Therefore, we're going to come at you with some other strategies. We're going to come over. I'm going to touch you on the arm. And we're going to make it as quick as possible. Okay, quick as possible. Because if you are there with your child and they're saying, no, I need, unless it's something that you really think they need to see. For some kids, they really do need, like Samantha, with your kids, maybe they need a warning, like, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Generally speaking, that's a good idea. But once you've done that, or with some older kids, I don't necessarily, I'm not a big believer around technology of there being a big warning, because it's just like, I need 5 minutes more, 5 minutes more. But either way, warning or not, it's a one-time only experience. Right, I'm coming with you, sitting down, we're getting off the device now, okay? And you sit there and you say to your child, adolescent, I know this is actually really hard. I know I know your body feels really good where you are, but you are going to get off, and I'm going to help you get off. So let's put that down. Let's go and get a drink. Let's go and get a hot chocolate. Let's go and get something. Let's go and get a heat pack. Let's go and get something else. Let's go and have a nice shower. Let's go and get something else that works with your brain and your body so that it helps it to feel good. And we've talked a lot about those different strategies. And say, you don't have to be happy about it. You're not going to be happy about getting off this device. And we understand that. Who would be? It feels good to be there. Who's going to want to put something down that feels so good? So I think if we're coming at it like that with a bit more understanding, and the end result is it flips around and it gives us a greater sense of relief, because we're coming at it as parents and carers with an understanding of what's really going on. So we're less likely to get cranky or upset or emotionally dysregulated ourselves, feeling like they're not doing the right thing. Okay, please don't take the way your child responds to getting off devices as a measure of your successful parenting. Do not take that as a measure. Okay, whether they get off the device quickly and smoothly and without conflict is not a measure of whether you're a good parent, nor is it a measure of your relationship. It is simply a measure of how you are managing the brain and body's need to connect to that very feel-good experience. Do people agree? Please let me know. Are there any questions at this time? I'm going to throw it open to questions and see whether anyone's got any other questions about the content that we've shared tonight, or any other question about any other topic to do with looking after our children. Again, this is not the world of perfect parent. This is, we're all perfectly imperfect here. I certainly am. And for those of you who've just joined us, may I say, I'm in my pajamas. I'm in my pajamas because that's what you do. Here are my pajamas. Yes, because that's what we do when we are parents, right? I'm not sitting here in a suit on a Monday night. I'm sitting here, not that I wear a suit, I barely wear shoes if you come into my office. But, we're all in our pajamas. So I hope you are in your pajamas too. Now, the bigger announcement I have while you are waiting to send me some questions, and if no one does, that's fine. But if anyone's got a question, now's the time to pump through, and I'd love to be of service to you. But our big announcement at our house is we've got a harp in the house. A harp. My beautiful daughter, Kate, who is 10, has decided that she would like to try the experience of learning what it sounds like to play a harp. Now, Hayley, I'm with you in a second. Now, I just want for all of you who've got children who are learning the violin or the trumpet, any instrument where they're learning and it might sound a little bit or like that, I can tell you now that when someone's learning a harp, it sounds beautiful. There's no such thing as a tricky sounding harp. So I'm on a winner. I know. Highly recommend it. Encourage your children to learn a harp. It sounds good even when they're learning. Okay, so I'll give you an update on the harp lessons. So Hayley Brown, you're saying to me, any tips to get a kid to stay in their own bed? Well, Hayley, I have to declare something here. I'm a bit of a fan of the co-sleeping. I think it's very unique, but I can give you a few ideas. Okay, at 4 they're really young still, and I guess again it depends on what is their relationship with sleep been like from the very beginning, from baby, right? What is their relationship with? What is their style of sleep? What is their? So I've got one. Phoebe, who was an absolute screamer from day one, scream, and woke up several times a night for the first 2.5 years. And I've got being scared, perfect sleeper from baby. Okay, great, but it's due to being scared. Well, some of the most intelligent people are scared at night. Okay, let's talk about what we need to do to support our kids who are feeling scared at night, because I think that's what we're really needing to focus on. So some of the most, oh my gosh, there's a whole lot more questions. Slept through from 8 weeks. This is very new. Okay. Well, okay. And Jill Van says, my granddaughter won't go to school. She just wants to stay home and draw and play with her baby dolls. Well, Jill, wouldn't we all? I want to stay home and play and paint and draw and play with my baby dolls. Sorry, that's not what you're asking. You're actually asking me to answer that question. Jill, I am going to get to that one, but I want to first cover Hayley's question. And Jill, if I don't get to that tonight, I can guarantee you that would be first question for next week. I'm so glad you're all here. Thank you. So Hayley, the usual things that we need to cover off are, if you're at all concerned, please first of all go to a doctor and have a full physical review. Not to alarm you, it just is something that I think is really important. If she's been feeling, daughter, did you say daughter? 4-year-old, did you say, is she a daughter? Is Hayley, we're talking about a daughter? Anyway, your beautiful child, do they need to just check that there's no physical ailments, ear infections, snuffly noses, blah, 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 that are keeping them awake, okay? That's the most important. I mean, you would know that, but sometimes we need a doctor's review to do that. Just check that out. The second thing is, have there been any changes in their life? Yep, they're a daughter? Yes, okay. Have there been any changes in their life, in your family life, you don't have to say this publicly on a Facebook platform, but I'm just sort of sharing with you, anything changed in their circumstances that may have increased their sense of anxiety? It's a girl. That may have increased their sense of anxiety, okay? And by anxiety, I'm going to use the word nervousness, because we throw the word anxiety, which is a clinical term, around too easily. I'm talking about an elevated sense of emotional worry, okay? So has anything happened in their life? And by that I mean obvious things in the family, but also what about in their social world? Do they go to preschool, for example? Has something happened in their preschool? The other thing I want you to consider is, have they seen something on television or online accidentally that has frightened them? Okay, now we know that the average age of the children are exposed to sexual pornography is 6. Your child is 4. I'm not saying it's sexual pornography, but of course, even at 4, they can be exposed to things that we don't realise is actually frightening. It's just, we're just working through that checklist of what are the triggers, okay? The other thing then is it's about obviously asking her, and she may not be able to articulate that, and that's okay. Once you know, either way, she still needs comfort, okay? So there's some basic strategies around, let's go to bed. Now, I'm a big fan of getting a meditation to play bedside. We have a whole range of meditations on my phone here. And I go to sleep with a meditation off my phone. But the meditation runs, and my youngest uses this a lot, Kate. And hi, Kerry. And she will use the meditation. The other thing I do is I pop her into bed and I say, I will come back every 10 to 15 minutes and check on you. And that sometimes works. The other things you need to know is you need to get a series of strategies in place, and some will work some nights and some won't work the other nights. The other thing you can do is absolutely make sure that there's soft lighting. I'm not a big fan of kids sleeping in the dark, particularly if they're nervous and afraid. Guided meditation on YouTube, excellent. Hello, Kerry. That's fantastic. It's great for settling. And please get some soft lighting. And sometimes leaving a hall light on is a great idea because it just has that beautiful, and some people say, no, you need darkness to sleep in. But I'm telling you, as someone I've lived afraid of the dark my whole life as a child, I lived this experience. I've always found a hall light very comforting. I always found those, some people get those little soft things you stick in the wall. What's the point of that? It's like not enough. There's not enough light. When you're afraid, a salt lamp, that's good. Now make sure there's enough light coming out of there, Hayley. Because if there's not enough, you still might not need to ask her, say, is this enough light, or would you like the hall light on as well? You'll develop a good relationship with the electricity company, but it'll be worth the sleep. So just consider that. The other reason why the hall light is great is because they can usually take their little selves off to the bathroom easily at night time, and it's not such a scary experience, okay? The other thing to do is to talk to her and say, when you feel scared, where do you feel scared in your body? Is it in your head, in my usuals? Is it in your head, your chest, your belly, your back, or your throat? And we're going to look after your feelings, those heavy feelings of feeling scared, which is, and the other thing is to normalize it for. It's very, very normal and understandable. Hello, Loretta, great person. And so we find out where she's feeling heavy. And say, for example, she might be feeling heavy in her chest or her belly. This is a great opportunity to take, my favourite, a heat pack, particularly in winter. A heat pack, warm it up, and take that to bed with her as well. I also think that at the end of the day, you'll probably just find she might pop into your bed, and that can work or not work depending on what your sleeping arrangements are. I'm a big believer in co-sleeping. However, I am someone who I personally don't do very well sleeping physically with my kids because I can't, and particularly my youngest, because she's tiny, she will take up a whole queen bed herself. And many times I'm on the 10 centimetres on the side, and when you've got to run businesses and be a functioning adult, it's really hard the next day. So I have worked with her a lot and spoken to her a lot about that, so I've been coaching her a lot into her bedtime. The other thing is, I think it's really important for you to, in the light of day, right, not necessarily in those moments before sleep, but in the light of day. You know when you've been worrying about something or afraid of something, when you're in the light of the new day, you feel safer. That's the time to talk about her bedtime routine, right? That's the time to talk about what she needs to look after her feelings so she can feel safe as possible. That's the time to get her to draw a picture. I'll talk about rewards charts in a minute, beautiful Hayley. That's the time to get her to draw a picture of beautiful dreams that she could be having, okay, when she's asleep. That's the time for her to draw a picture of, if you believe in angels, a guardian angel or God or some spiritual being or whatever, resting over her bed and looking after her. Or fairies or whatever it is, like something beautiful and magical. And you ask her to, and you place those things around her wall at the line of sight of her bed, okay? And these become a comforting reference. Rewards charts are really great. I mean, I do one of those for my kids as well. I think they're worth a go. I don't think they work with some kids at all, and I think there's nothing wrong with you or the children that just don't work. Why they don't work is behavioural decisions occur in the rational thinking part of the brain. When a child is afraid or distressed, their amygdala is triggered, and their brain is thrown into the primitive part of their brain, fight, flight, freeze, or submit. And they can't even access that rational thinking part of the brain, which is where the decisions would be that would result in getting the reward, see? So it's kind of all right but it's not really responding and understanding the neuroscience of what's happening to the brain and the body when they're afraid, because it implies that they can sit very rationally and make choices about whether they sit in bed or not. And, you know, so see what I'm thinking? And so it's a bit, it's good, but more what I would be talking about is a reward chart, not for the sleeping in the bed, but a reward chart for looking after the feelings, right? So a reward chart for being able to recognize they felt heavy and scared. There's a tick. A reward for, oh, I feel heavy and I looked after my feelings. I got the heat pack. I did the drawing. I snuggled in and got the, coffee. Dear God, not for a 4-year-old. The cuddle, you know, I would more love you to do a reward chart for those things rather than the sleeping in bed, okay? Because what we're really wanting to master for our children is that ability to lean into and know that when our emotions are high and we're scared, number one is learning how to look after our feelings, right? So I would do a reward chart for that. So the goal behavior would be knowing if you're feeling heavy or light. So you're feeling, so knowing your feelings or being able to see that your feelings. And then the second thing is being able to look after heavy feelings. Hayley, if you look at some of the back episodes of our parenting, Perfectly Imperfect Parenting, I've given previously some strategies on looking after your head, chest, belly, and back and throat, okay? So I hope those ideas are something that are helpful for you all. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. That would be what I would actually focus on, because that's a life skill you can take onwards. And it's around the dialogue too. So when you're driving along in the car, it's always a great time to chat, or paddling along in the whatever, or wherever you are in the daylight hours. The thing to focus in on is, oh my God, you're scared and we've got to get you through this. It's like, it's really understandable, darling. Yes, our time can be pretty scary because, stuff happens. Like, you're not up close and personal with mum, dad, carer. We're not together. You're in separate rooms. It's dark, which can feel a bit scary. And it can be it's understandable. So many people feel this way. And what's important is that, a few things. One is everyone feels scared sometimes, especially in the dark. Okay, so that's not, but the most important thing here is not that you are actually feeling afraid, although I want to support, I want you to not feel afraid. Of course, I'm your mum, yeah. But the main thing here is that you're able to go, Mum, to tell me you're feeling afraid, which is great, and that we work together to look after your feelings. Now, we're not going for success, she sleeps in bed all night, that's the measure of success. The measure of success is, can she identify that she's feeling scared? Yes, she can. That's brilliant. Number two, can she successfully look after her feelings so she feels a little bit better? Not perfect, not great, not completely resolved, but a little bit more cozy or warmer, supported. Or that she'll even do the activity of looking after her feelings. So getting the warm washer, getting the cuddly toy, getting the heat pack, putting on the meditation, drawing the picture, looking at all these beautiful pictures to tell her mind a beautiful story. Now, that's the other thing I'll add on to that, Kaylee. It's good to start teaching your children, even as young as 4, that our brain can have what we call bullying thoughts, right? There's bullying. People can bully us, but also our brain can bully us a little bit, have these bullying thoughts. And the number one time our brain can have bullying thoughts is at nighttime when we're scared. So it's being able for her as well. She's doing all those, looking after her feelings, and you've got the lovely rewards chart, and she's doing all that. But also when she's having those worries about being off, so there's two things. One is she's just feeling it generally, and that's where the first set of suggestions apply. The second set of suggestions are I can't get it out, that I'm talking about now is if she can actually articulate what she's afraid of. So if she can articulate what she's afraid of, and she might say, I'm scared the biggie man's coming in the window or something, we'd call that a bullying thought. And so you just say, oh, your brain's having a bullying thought. That's what they do. And the thing about that is when we have a bully thought, the very first thing we must ask our brain is it real? Is it true? right? So is there really a boogeyman coming in the window? Is there really a boogeyman coming in the window? What's the evidence of that? Where is he? Right? And the evidence is there's no boogeyman. So therefore, that's a bullying thought, right? So just starting to coach her and teach her that our mind can sometimes get really busy and have these bullying thoughts. So that's something I want you to be really, really trying as well, Hayley, and let me know how that goes. I hope that's been helpful. Now, Loretta, I've got a question here from you, and I want to note that Jill Venn, your question, my granddaughter won't go to school. She just wants to stay home and draw or play with her babies. Jill, can you please let me know, I'm running your message now. Jill, can you please let me know the child's age? And I will be able to respond to that one, and it will be top of mind next Monday at 8 o'clock. And there's some other lovely questions. Oh, cancel. What am I doing, everyone? Oh, are you all still there? What have I done? I've done something. I can't get back to my other question. There they are. Just sliding down here to Loretta, lovely Loretta. Oh, I love that that's great. Okay, thank you, Hayley. I'm so glad I've been helpful. Please trial that. Come back and let me know how you go, and we can keep problem solving what's going on for you, Hayley, because this conversation will also help a lot of other people, okay? Now, Loretta, you, lovely person, have said reward chart for looking after their feelings. What a brilliant idea. May work well in the classroom with some highly anxious kids who lash out. Oh, Loretta, I've got 50,000 ideas I could give you. So I'm happy to even address that one. That would be not this time, but next time. So I want to say thank you to everyone who's been here. I hope that this has been, thank you, Hayley. I hope that this has been a wonderful session. Remember, join me next Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Sydney time. We're going to be starting off with your lovely question, Jill, about school refusal. And I'll address that from all ages and stages, but I'll see you've got there, Jill. She's 6, so we'll start with her, but then I'll also talk about other ages and stages. Next time, please join me. Bring a cup of tea, bring some water. It doesn't have to be in a jar. Bring your pajamas, wear your Ugg boots, okay, and your lovely flannels, and come and sit with us. Share this time, share this experience, and become part of the Perfectly Imperfect parenting community. If you want to sign up to our newsletter, which we're getting out soon, it's go to the button at the top of the Facebook page where it says join in, sign in, something or other, and it takes you to a link, and then sign up and you'll start to get our newsletter. That should be coming out really, really soon. Have a great evening, everyone. You are all amazing. And hello, Gail. We're just finishing off. You're all amazing, and I'm so grateful that you've taken your time to be here tonight with me. Take care, bye-bye, and remember, we're all perfectly imperfect, so we have to be kind to ourselves. We have to be kind to ourselves. Okay, take care, bye-bye.